Welcome everybody to the FIGEF Wine Talk. Our subject is digital wine marketing strategies for wine journalists, and it's presented by Liz Palmer from Canada, who is the ideal person to give this talk. Welcome, Liz, and over to you.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm a wine journalist, award-winning author. I founded Up Social Wine and Spirits Agency, which is a digital marketing strategy agency for global wine and spirit brands. For the last 4 years, I've been recognized as one of the top 20 global social wine and spirit influencers on wine and spirits. I'm ranked top 1% for industry SSI and LinkedIn. I've also been, I'm a Dame Chevalier of the Ordre de Coteau de Champagne. I've recently been asked to be a judge in the Canadian Marketing Awards. I'm a TEDx Toronto Insider and a Facebook Business Insight panel member. I sit on the board of FIGEF as well, and the founding president of La Dame d'Escoffier, Ontario, and Women in Wine Talks, which is a global online platform for women in the wine industry. Next, please. So today's discussion, we're going to talk about social media users globally. I'm going to speak slow because Anne has asked me, because some of your English is not very good, so I will speak slow. Usually I'm a fast talker, but today I'll go slow. So we're going to talk about social media users globally by the numbers, what happens in a social media minute, what you must do to hit the ground running, especially nowadays with what's going on. And we're going to start with LinkedIn and what you should need to do to stay relevant. And what other top platforms you should be using. And I'm talking globally, not just in Europe and the countries you're from, just to be more relevant internationally. And you'll get some tips on how to write your bio and what to include, how to use hashtags, content writing, and how to stay relevant in the industry. What are the current trends? We'll also be discussing that. And what are the foreseeable trends? And as Stephen mentioned, please keep questions to the end and post in the chat. So this is a big surprise here. Globally, there's 4,333 million social media users on global media, starting in 2021, which is about 55% of the total global population. This is huge. Social media, as you know, has surged in the past 12 months because of COVID. Everybody's at home and online and learning to use it. For an example, 521 million new users from January to April alone, and that's huge. So this is equating to a growth of 13.7% or 16.5 new users every second. Facebook, as most of you probably know, remains the world's most widely used social media platform. Down below, you will see a list of the top 6 that have 1 billion monthly active users. I'll give you an example: Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, believe it or not, is a big one, and Instagram and WeChat has really moved up to the billion mark. So just take a look at those numbers. It's astounding. When I was doing this research, I just floored. It just shows you what's out there. And also the list below is there's 17 additional platforms that have 300 million monthly active users as well. So TikTok, as people know, I don't know Telegram, Snapchat is up there, Pinterest is another one, Reddit, Twitter, of course, and Quora. I'm on Quora a lot just to do some research, some interesting topics on there. LinkedIn doesn't really disclose their monthly active users, just to let you know, but they're still in the 300 million active user list. So that's interesting now. So what happens in a social media minute? When I did my research on this again, I was like, wow, it's just unbelievable. So I came up with this image. And what we're going to look is the green part down below. You'll see most of the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. And then the other ones are more internet related. This is unbelievable, just astounding. Like tweet sent a minute, 350,000 for Twitter, which is unbelievable. And then if you want to look at text, email sent, that's other, then there's Netflix and songs streamed and other Google searches. So that's something. But we'll go into the numbers. We're going to focus on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Facebook is the top social platform with over 2.7 billion monthly active users. So every minute you're going to see there is 510,000, 293 status updates, 240,000 photos uploaded every minute. 9 million Facebook messages are sent every minute. And the average user spends about 34 minutes a day on Facebook. So I'm not your average Facebook person I spend probably 2 or 3 hours a day on social media alone. So I'm not one of those people. With Instagram, there are 95 million photos and videos shared on Instagram daily. As you know, Instagram's a visual platform, and that translates into 65,972 minutes. Photos per minute. The average user spends 30 minutes a day on Instagram. 81% of the people use Instagram to research product and services, believe it or not. So wine tourism, wine education, it's a big thing. LinkedIn is a great channel to make connections and build your network. There are 310 active users per month, 40% of visit daily. And people look for jobs. I don't, but that's how it initially started. It was people searching for jobs, but now it's more networking and building connections. And I'm going to say that I know a couple of people that have met on LinkedIn and formed businesses, wine businesses, relationships. So that's kind of really interesting. And they haven't met in person yet. They just met through LinkedIn, and because of COVID, they started form a company. So it's a very important tool to use for networking. And why, being a wine journalist or in the wine industry, must you really embrace this? Because social media provides a direct link between you and your audience. I don't know who your audience is, but it's got to be the wine lovers, wine trade, anyone in the wine business, I'm supposing. It's a highly effective tool for building your personal brand, which is really important, and your personal brand awareness. So who are you? People need to know who you are, not only in your country, but globally, and you represent that country. Social media posts reach audiences in real time, and that's really important to know. There are various opportunities for building relationships with fellow writers, photographers, wineries, and other trade professionals. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. What I did before our call today, I had the list of all the people attending, and I made sure I connected with all them on LinkedIn before the seminar. So just to let you know, that's what I do. And then I connect and I can see a face and that type of thing. So, and then when I travel, I know, well, I met you, you came to our seminar, and now I know who you are. 2021 will be a year of profound and rapid digital change. People are waking up, they're embracing this now. So I think you have to get on the bandwagon and just get going and moving on it. Anything you can do to learn, it's really important. So we're going to start with LinkedIn. My favorite. You can see that it's in LinkedIn is in, I know parts of Europe haven't really embraced LinkedIn yet, or in parts of the world, but there are 200 countries in the world that are on LinkedIn. And if you can see the breakdown, well, US has got the largest amount. Europe as a whole is 198 million. We've got Israel, Turkey, these are all in the millions. Indonesia surprised me at 18 million. China mainland. So these are phenomenal numbers, and these are current. And people in Europe, we've got UK is 30 million. I think it's probably more than that, but it's amazing. So that's the numbers. So why should you start with LinkedIn for social media purposes? It's available in 24 languages, in case you didn't know. There's 200 countries on LinkedIn. This is all true stats, like this is what they're telling us. It's the largest professional network. So if you want to get jobs in writing around the world, you go on LinkedIn and that's where you're going to find them. LinkedIn is an absolute must. Start by creating a profile and update it regularly. Create a company profile if you have a company, an educational component, or wine news outlet or something you created. Have both you and your business, and then add your personal profile to your business and connect it that way and grow it. You should post 1 to 5 times a week. I probably do 5 to 6. I post wine articles, tasting notes, news, events. Like today, I've already started working on something to post about this event. I took some pictures, and so it'll be a short post, but it's gonna keep me engaged with my members. Consistency is very important in growing your connections and personal brand awareness. And really importantly is join and engage in wine groups and connections regularly. I'm a member of 84 wine groups, wine investment, wine professionals, it goes on and on. So it's just, that's really important. What are the other top platforms to use? I would say one of the top ones is Instagram, because it's a visual platform. And you know, when you go on these wine trips or you're doing tasting notes, people want to see the bottle. They want to, you know, see you, who you are, what you're doing, who you're visiting. Instagram is very important. When you're visiting wineries, for example, take photos, take videos, experiment with some of the different tools that smartphones have. And Stephen might go into that because I think you're an expert in those type of things. Share your expertise, your photos, your videos, and your text captions on Instagram. Post daily, once to twice a day, 5 days a week, and use hashtags. Stay within, you're allowed usually 30, stay within 5 to 12. Don't overboard it, it's overwhelming for your people that are going to connect with you. And comment on other people's content. This will also increase your following. It's very important. So Facebook would be the next one, of course. Post comments, share all types of content from photos to news. Keep your audience interested in your writing brand by sharing updates regularly. Post 1 to 3 times a week. It's important to, with your community, by liking and regular commenting, also join groups. A lot of people don't know, but there is wine groups on Facebook. There's lots of them. So that's something. And if you have a company, again, do a company page for Facebook and start filling it with content and photos. So this is just a little example of liking, and you can use different gestures and those type of things, or you can use words, of course. So tips, we're going to talk a little bit about tips now, how to write your bio on the 3 different platforms we've been discussing and what to include, how to use hashtags, and content writing for social media. It's a lot different than writing for a newspaper or a magazine. So we're going to start with LinkedIn. Add a headshot so people can, there's 2 spaces at the top of LinkedIn. You can add a headshot in the circle, the little small circle, so people know who you are. You know, that's your first impression. Create an eye-catching headline. That's the first thing people will read. It's like your most valuable real estate on your LinkedIn page. And then write for your target audience. So if you take a look to see what I did, I just put my name, what I am, who I am, some awards, or what I'm doing, where I'm based. That's it. Then create an interesting about section. Tell your career story. They don't give you a lot of room to write here. So I know we have all of us have a lot of history and what we're doing each year. So what I started doing is just categorizing it by year. I think it might be on the next slide. Yeah, if you take a look, for 2021, I just listed seminars, things I'm participating in. And you have to keep it short and tight because you're only allowed so many characters. So that's, and I can't remember how many years I go back, but then I would go to the bottom and take out ones that are not relevant anymore. So that's how I'm doing my bio on LinkedIn. It just makes it easier. It's more precise and clear. So also on, let's see. So like, as I was mentioning, you can put your bio photo in that little circle, and then the backdrop, you can add a banner. Make the banner, make it reinforce who you are. And so if you take a look at mine, it's pictures of wine grapes, you know, and soil, and just connect with who you are and what you do. Mine is, I just put a picture on nature in the vineyard. So stand out, make your visual very creative. And a lot of things people don't know, you can also use various media on LinkedIn, like YouTube videos, infographics, and PowerPoint. You can do PowerPoint, which is very powerful to show. And as I said, infographics are really coming out again. Everyone's getting into statistics and that type of thing. So that's really important. And another thing people don't know about for LinkedIn, and people can search you, believe it or not, through, you can customize your URL. You can go in and change it to your name. There's a trick to doing it. You go to your profile, you find the option, edit your URL. And I did mine a while ago. So mine's just Liz-Palmer. So mine would be www.com/in backsplash Liz-Palmer and no numbers after it. And now when people search you, that will pop up. LinkedIn will pop up. Okay. So on LinkedIn, the more connections you have increases your likelihood of being found. They're recommending you have at least 500 connections. So my recommendation is connect with individuals you know personally, you've worked with, traveled with, met with in a personal capacity at trade shows and conferences. And people, especially now, want to connect, and also connect with people in your city, region, again, industry and profession. And if you're going to connect with somebody you don't know, send them a note explaining why you'd like to connect with them. Maybe you're interested in what their topics are, what they're teaching, or who they are, that type of thing. So I've done that many times. So. And another thing in your LinkedIn profile page, ask for recommendations and skill endorsements. This is very vital to make your profile stand out. I've got one from Portugal, Mariana. I attended Portugal last year, 2 years ago before COVID, and I wanted to go on a tour, the Cork, and she says, I want to give you a recommendation. So, okay, that was nice. I gave her one as well. So, yeah. Keep your profile very active on LinkedIn. So this is how you be relevant. Like 3 times a week posting, 5 times would be better. Write posts, articles. Also check to see what your connections and colleagues are writing about. That's, you can get some ideas as well, and you can make comments. Like and share posts that resonate with you on LinkedIn. Engage your comments and put forward your expertise. So maybe write something about what you see and taste or what you know about that topic. Join groups, wine groups that align with you. It's very important in the wine industry, professional interests as well. And then you can join also groups you can network with, share ideas and best practices. So that this is all very important. Now we're going to talk about Facebook and Instagram bios. They're a lot shorter. You have a lot less room to write your bio, so it's got to be very, very tight. So I found this little quote I thought was meaningful. Not that the story needs to be long, but it will take a long while to make it short. Your bios need to be really brief. So it's so there's my Instagram bio. It's very, you probably can't see it. It just says wine journalist, author, social media influencer, and my website. Yeah, that's what it is. So basically, it's your introduction of who you are and where you work, what you do, what topics interest you or you're working on or with. Your tone is important. I don't have a tone because I didn't have enough space. And how to contact you is very important. Tell your words specifically to your audience, and revisit often. I would change your bio every quarter to add something else or make it more interesting or change your picture. That's I would recommend. So here is some of the social platforms, some of the characters you're allowed. This is just a little chart I found. As you see, they're all, and it's changing daily and weekly, so it's hard to keep up with what they want and what they don't want. And so just keep it light. That's my recommendation. Now, tips on using hashtags. Um, let's say we're going to start with just the hashtag itself. That's all you need. Make sure your account is public. If it's private, you can't search hashtags. People don't know that. And if you're in the wine industry, you should have a public account so people know who you are. Especially being a journalist, if you want some writing job opportunities or trips, let people know who you are, have it public. The best hashtags, from my experience, tend to be short and easy to remember. Use relevant and specific hashtags. I usually put charts and categories for some of mine, especially if you go with different countries and you have to change the language, and you can have English and, let's say, French or Italian or other country language for wine. That's just an example. And the grape varieties. So you have to really, it's a whole art to doing hashtags in the wine industry. Limit the number of hashtags you use. Usually you're allowed 30, but they're really recommending 3 to 15, so you don't look so crowded for your posting. So think of hashtags as a way to connect on social media to a specific topic, theme, or conversation. So that's basically the basics for hashtags. And why do you use them? You're using them to increase your engagement with your followers. Using hashtags in your posts means you're taking part in the conversation on that social media platform. And it makes your post visible in a conversation. This also leads to great engagement, boosting your likes, shares, comments, and new followers. So it's really important to use those. So here, this is currently the top 10 hashtags being used right now globally. As we know, wine, of course, would be the number one. Vino, wine tasting, wine lovers, wine time, Insta wine, of course, Winestagram, food, which is food and wine usually, and red wine. Not white wine, red wine. Not even rosé wine. So when you're writing first in social media, tell stories. And posting, you have to keep it short and sweet. Always include the important details, the who, where, when, why, how, as being a journalist. Write shorter headlines is important. And you have to really condense your thoughts so that it's a whole different writing altogether when you do content writing for social media. You have to learn, and it's taken me a few years, not to be over flowery, and yeah, it's a whole new art altogether. When you do, another tip is post interviews you're doing. Even go back to some of your old interviews and rejuvenate it. Post announcements that you're going through, or you're gonna something you're working on. Post updates, events you're attending, press releases that were sent to you. You can reword them, put in your own photos, that type of thing, or you can get photos from the organization. Stories about wineries and wine tours are pivoting post-COVID right now. It's people really want to travel. They want to go to wineries. So this is very important right now. And also what's important on content writing right now is real stories. People want to see the real people behind the writing, or the real who are the winery people, who's the winemaker, who's the owner, who's the person behind the store selling the wine, that type of thing. People want real story. Find ways to entertain and inspire and avoid negativity, especially nowadays with COVID. People want happy stories. Don't be afraid also to get personal, especially now. People want to see the real you. Also, another tip is fact check your stories and sources before you send it out with your details. Repost, support other wine journalists and trade organizations by sharing and reposting their content, and be sure to tag them so they know that you're supporting them and they'll support you. So what are the trends? COVID is accelerating digital transformations, as we all know. So you have to embrace this social media and digital era. Data journalism is really at the forefront. Eye-catching digital data visualization in your social media feed is very important. So I've got actually a young student I'm kind of training to work with me on that. I can, it's phenomenal because that's the future. The better user experience and design you're going to see with social media, with the photography, the social platforms. That's another thing coming through the pipe. I mean, they're all weekly. I'm getting updates on what Facebook is doing, Instagram, TikTok. They're updating regularly all these new ideas. Live streaming is going to continually being popular because we certainly can't travel right now. We will in the future, but right now it's very popular. Podcasts and audio continuing to grow, which we're doing now happily. So that's another trend for this year. The number of social media users will continue to grow expeditiously. It's not going anywhere. So wine journalists, if you're not on now, you should jump on and embrace. All it takes is one simple blog post, video, or notification from you, and people know where you are, who you are. We represent a global community. So let's participate. Thank you.
Thanks to Liz for giving this presentation, and thank you to FIJEV for hosting it. And I'll make sure it's available on the FIJEV Wine channel in the next few days.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.